I think the recording, I have clicked start recording. Yeah, it has
Yeah, it
started.
started. Yes.
Okay.
Started.
Okay. So good afternoon, all. I am Abdul Sami. So I will figure out how to change the trainer 4 to my name actually. So, and then I will change the name as well. So right now I tried, but it didn't work. I think at the time of login, I have to do. So anyways, you can call me Sami. Uh, and this is about the Postgres administration come the development part training. So it's a custom course specifically designed for DXC. Okay, so that is about, and already we have shared the what we are going to learn. So what we are going to learn. So we will follow the same course plan, what we have agreed upon. Um, and the course consists of, the conceptual explanation. So like, every concept. So within the Postgres will be explained by me. And wherever required, I will give a demo, like, for example, so we are taking a backup. So I will show you how we can take the backup. Okay. So how we can perform the restore. And then I will let you guys do some practice on your own. That is the practice time. So the whole delivery of the course includes lecture time, demo time, and practice time. All three of them will be there. Some topics requires a lot of theory and maybe no practice. For example, architecture lesson. Some topics, may not require a lot of explanation because less concept and they require a demo, right? So depending on, topic, so I will deliver the lecture and as well as demo. So, and for each of the topic, I will give you the exercise. So you have to do it on your own. You are supposed to do on your own. However, so exercises are done during the class time. So if you have any questions or if you are not able to do or getting an error message while performing certain thing, always I am here to, resolve your issues. Every participant will be provided a lab. Did you receive the lab credentials?
Yes, Sami.
Yeah,
Yes,
sir.
we
Yes, sir.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So you should be able to see my screen, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, so there are a few things like, I think right now, all of us are quite familiar with these things. So that is, what issues we may face during the online meetings, online trainings. The most common issue is, the audio issues. So that is really frustrating if audio goes off or, audio is not clear. So you can always tell me if the audio is not very clear. So sometimes, it is the issue from my side. So if it is the issue from my side, right, so audio will not be clear to anyone. Sometimes, it will be a local issue and might be your internet issue. So in such case, what happens, the audio or the screen sharing will not be so in a good quality for you only. So we can diagnose the issue like that and we can take care of that. Okay. But do let me know if you face any issues with audio or screen sharing. Sometimes, I may forget sharing the screen, and, I may be going about the topic. So that is also a bit of problem. So you can tell me, so that, so the screen is not shared. So I will share the screen immediately. So these problems are quite common. I think these issues are quite common in the online meetings today, and I think so. We all know how to handle it. But anyways, so upfront, I just explained to you. Other than that, so during the course, during the course, so we will be in a topic. So always, especially when we are learning some concepts, so you are going to definitely compare it with, your native skill, your original skill, like Oracle database or Postgres, sorry, SQL Server database, right? So it's quite natural. So if I know Oracle already, if I am learning a new database, so I will try to compare, so, the concepts to Oracle database, my understanding of Oracle database. Okay, it's quite common. So, you can ask questions, okay, clarify your doubts. So usually, I recommend you to, so once a topic is there, so once I complete explaining the concept, so I will pause and I will give the time for questions for each and every topic, and subtopic also sometimes. Okay, in that case, in that time, in that time duration, you can ask any questions you have on that particular topic. So make the session interactive. So I don't mind receiving the questions. So it is up to you. So how many questions you ask. Okay. Let me show you the lab. So everybody has tested. So their lab access. So I'm expecting everybody has tested their lab, right?
Yes, we have logged in and tested.
Okay, that's great. So I'm also logging. If it is possible for you to log in now, so you can also do. So while I am doing. Oops. Okay. So you should have this lab machine, right? Okay. You can see this box here, Hyper-V Manager. So every participant is given a Windows machine, a Windows machine. So so it is a Windows 10 Professional. The installed RAM is 16 GB RAM. It got, and good enough storage also it got. It got very good enough storage. So 16 GB RAM. So every participant is given this machine, a cloud machine, a cloud desktop. The good thing is in this cloud desktop, you have internet access also. So you have internet access as well in this cloud desktop. So you can, so we do PostgreSQL training, installation, and everything on a Linux machine, not on Windows machine. This is your access or jump machine, where you will jump and then you work on the Postgres. So on this Windows machine, we are not going to install any Postgres server or any other Postgres tools. So what we have here is, Hyper-V manager is there, right? So all of you should also have the Hyper-V manager. So in the Hyper-V manager, so you can see already 4 virtual machines are configured. So these are all what we say means all these machines are uh, the Linux machines, and as and when required, we will switch on them and switch off them. Our main machine is this PostgreSQL. This is the main machine. Okay. So you guys want to test this right now? So we will test this right now. Right click and say start. You start the PostgreSQL machine. Don't start other machines. And at the bottom of the screen, you have summary, memory, and networking. Just click on networking. So when that machine boots up, so you will get an IP address. So wait until that time. You can see I got an IP address. Right? Just give me a minute. I'll plug in the plug. Ah. Okay. So here we go. Yeah, it is plugged in now. Okay, you can see the IP address, right? All of you, you got the IP address. So yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, great. So you take that IP address and connect to that machine. So there is a putty here. You can see there is this icon, SSH telnet login. So, this is called as putty. I think all of you should be aware of this tool, right? Very well. So if not, just click on that. So this tool, with this tool, we can connect to our virtual machines. Okay. So you give the host name 172. So that is to IP address, whatever we got, 249.122. So you give this and so for myself, you don't need to do this, but for my machine, so I will increase the font so that it is clearly visible. By default, the putty font is, a bit smaller. It is harder to see from your systems. Uh, so I will increase the font so that, it appears. There is no need for you to do this. Okay, so I am saying a bold font of 18 means size. Okay, so simply say open. So it will throw this screen, so you can simply say accept. That's it. And it will prompt you for a login message. It will prompt you with a login. Okay, so here at login, you give admin and password also admin. So you're logged into your virtual machine, your lab machine. So everybody is able to do this.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
we are at the server.
Everyone. Anybody has issue, do let me know. The whole purpose is if there are any problems upfront, we will know. So instead of, at the when we go to the lab and then we have the issue, so it will be so time waste. So if there is an issue, so we can identify and we can let our lab people fix that for us. If anybody is not able to log in, do let us know. Share your screen. I will try to help you. So I think, we are good at this point. Nobody has reported any issue. So everybody is able to log into the virtual machine, right?
This is
So,
Chandan. I'm not getting IP address.
so you didn't got this IP address. You clicked on this network tab here.
Yes, I did that.
Okay. And you started this machine also. Right click and start. So right now I'm getting turn off, but instead of turn off, if the machine is off, you will get start like this one. So if I right click, you will get this start. So you started
I have to start Postgres.
SQL,
Okay.
Postgres SQL, not others. As and when required, until we finish our training. So we will start all of them. But,
Postgres is running.
okay, just now started. Okay, just wait for some more time. So it should show you like, connection default switch, IP address, status. Okay, what the status it is showing?
Just stopping. So when I do a start, it is showing black screen.
Okay, can you share your screen?
Yeah.
I need to stop sharing or you can share on.
I said.
You shared the screen.
Yeah.
Okay. So right click on that PostgreSQL. No, no, not like that. Yeah, start, not connect, start. Okay, so you are getting an error message here. So close.
Do you think there are two instances running?
Yeah, maybe, yeah. So you can also close this. So you can close this. Start. No, it has not started. Start other machine, any other machine.
This one?
Hmm.
Yeah, it's running.
Okay, so you can stop that which was running. So there is some problem with this. No problem. I will tell you how to fix it. So
Okay.
just right click on that machine.
Here?
Yes, and you have delete, right?
Mm-hmm.
Delete.
Yeah, it's done.
Okay, yeah. Now we will recreate. Go to the File Explorer.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, so here I think downloads.
Mm-hmm.
So you have PostgreSQL, right?
Mm-hmm.
So PostgreSQL, virtual hard disk. Okay, copy this, right click and copy. Okay, now go to this PC, C drive. Not program files, virtual machines. Okay, PostgreSQL. So you empty this folder first. This file is locked by something else. Okay, that hard disk is locked by something else. So that is causing the issue. Okay, anyways, what you are doing?
I'm just trying one more delete operation. It is not happening. So
Okay. No problem. No problem. No problem. So go to the virtual machines. Create another folder here. A new folder. Give some name Postgres 2 or something. Okay. So now what you do is you copy from the downloads folder. You copy that hard disk. Now you need to create a new virtual machine with this hard disk. Okay, go to the Hyper-V manager. Okay, so right click there and new virtual machine. So give a name to virtual machine. Oh, it is doing something. Okay. Next, give a name, PostgreSQL. And there is a checkbox, store this virtual machine in a different location. Okay, browse and give that virtual machine Postgres to. So,
See, folder I have to mention, right?
yeah. Virtual machines,
C
Postgres to.
virtual machines.
C drive, go to the
That-
C drive.
Yeah, I am
Yeah,
there.
yeah. Now you select folder. Okay, next. Generation 1. Next. So here 2048 you give. 2048.
Okay.
And uncheck use dynamic memory. Okay, click on that not connected. So you will have default switch. Yes, next. So use existing virtual hard drive. Option number 2. And then in the virtual machines folder, so you have that PostgreSQL 2 and that hard disk file, right?
Mhm.
So select that. Next. Finish. After it finishes, start. So click on that networking at the bottom of the screen. So it says no communication. It takes some time to complete the booting process, and
Mhm.
then it will say status okay.
Right.
Then you can use the putty to log in. So status is okay. IP address has not come yet, but it will come. Yes, now the IP address also came. So you're now you can use putty at the bottom of the screen. You have that. Yeah, not that one. Just beside it. Yeah. So you give that IP address there 172.23.196. Enter. So okay, open. So yet accept. Okay.
Password is same.
Yes. Done.
Yeah, thank you
Right.
so much. Yeah.
So anybody has any issues? So stop sharing.
Yeah.
Anybody has any issues? All of you guys are working from, India, right?
Right.
Okay. So the thing is, so whatever the timings I will say that will be in the IST. So if
Right.
any of you are working from anywhere, so you just do the math to convert it to your local time zone. Okay. So
Hi, Semi. One person from Philippines, John.
Yeah. Hello.
hi. So you are from Philippines?
Yes. Yeah.
Right. Livong John, right? So we will call you John.
Yes,
So
please.
we have 2.5 hour. You are 2.5 hour ahead of us. Already it is 5 p.m. for you, right?
Yes, correct.
Yeah. So I had been to Philippines quite few
Mhm.
times. I did some projects in Metro Bank.
That's nice. Yeah.
So I delivered some projects for Metro Bank. So for that reason, so twice I came to Philippines, Makati City.
Mm, yeah.
Okay. So nice place. So
very
feel
proud that
yourself
very
comfortable
traffic.
and you can ask me questions. So you got the lab without issues, right?
Yes, yeah.
You got into the lab without issues.
Yep.
Great. So great feel home, but I will be sharing the timings in India time because all the participants are in India time. So any timings, break time or any time, lab time I'm giving. So lab till 4:30 p.m. That means, Indian 4:30 p.m. So
Sure,
you
no problem.
convert it. Okay. So, so yeah, nice speaking to you.
Yep, thank
So
you.
I think my screen is shared, right? Yeah. So my screen is shared. Okay. So coming back to me, so I will give a bit of introduction about myself. So I'm Abdul Sami, and I have been working as so I used to work as system administrator, database administrator. I did database administration for Postgres, SQL Server, MySQL, SQL Server, to some extent DBA for MongoDB also. So the early versions of MongoDB. So SQL databases, RDBMS or no SQL databases, I did a lot of what we say means DBA activities. I'm also a good system administrator, particularly on Linux and Unix systems. I worked a lot on Solaris operating system. So, so that's about me. And since last 7 years or so, I am giving trainings and I'm taking some, uh, the what we say means little small little projects of performance tuning and other kind of stuff in databases. So that is what I'm doing these days. So mainly trainings and so some freelance project works. So that is about me. I can understand and speak English language. So I can also understand and speak Telugu language, the local language here. I can understand and speak Hindi language. So, and I can understand Tamil language also. So, but speaking, I have difficulty because so I have not lived in, that state for a very long time. So I have some speaking issues, but otherwise I can almost understand what you speak in Tamil. So same thing with Marathi also, I can a little bit understand Marathi language. So that is about me and what languages I can speak and understand. So coming back to this course, it is a administration course, DBA course. So with the development also, the PLPGSQL development is also included in the course. Totally, we have 50 hours. So I think all of you got the, so that the course, what we say means topic list. So, so we will stick to that every day. So we will be doing the course 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Okay. So daily schedule. So we started so 2 p.m. IST and we will end our session so 6 p.m. IST. So sometimes we need a quick break. So probably to grab a cup of coffee or to just have a refreshments. So we may need a break. So I think we can take a break at around 4 p.m. So about 10-15 minutes, I will keep 15, but we will try to wrap up as early as possible. So, just 10 minutes break in the middle of the session we'll do the trick and so we will get refreshed, right? So that is what the daily schedule will be. So hope everybody is okay with this schedule, right?
Yeah, we're fine. You said like you have shared some plans, right? So we didn't get any plans. If it is there, means can you please share us?
Okay, actually, so you mean to say, so you are able to see my screen?
Yeah,
Okay, the daily schedule, the paint program you are able to see?
daily schedule we can able to see.
Yeah. So what plans you are talking about?
About the topics agendas which we are going to.
So, you can get somewhere or I will also give. That's not a problem.
Okay.
Okay. That's not a problem. I think it should be there somewhere in your lab machine also. So, maybe in your lab machine, it should be there. Look into that Windows, the documents folder. So it should be there. I think I remembered copying it. So you are able to get it. So you look into the documents folder in the lab machine. So you should be able to get it.
Yeah, I can able to find it. Thank you.
Yeah. So that's it. So, actually last minute I copied that. So if anybody has not received, so they will have the reference. So anyway, this is the daily schedule, what you have. So, with this all, so we can get started. So let's have some introduction about PostgreSQL. PostgreSQL is a object relational database management system, ORDBMS. Okay. So excuse me. Excuse me. So developed at University of California at Berkeley Computer Science Department. So this is the product or this is the only database which got developed in university. So you have other databases like Oracle, SQL Server, and many other databases are there. Those other databases got developed in their by their respective companies. For example, so Oracle database was developed by Oracle company, and SQL Server was developed originally by Sybase and Microsoft, and then later on Microsoft. So every database has origins in the companies, organizations, or business enterprises. Whereas the Postgres is only database which was developed in University of California. So it is a product of all those, genius computer scientists, right? It is a product of that. So that's the reason, the Postgres is pretty much in compliance with SQL, ANSI SQL standards. So you take any other database, they have some deviations from, the standards prescribed by ANSI for RDBMS. But the Postgres tries to conform purely to the, that standards, ANSI standards of SQL. So it is an open source database, open source database. Generally, what do you mean by an open source database? So open source means what?
Without license, we can use this.
That is to some extent, correct, and to some extent it is not correct. So, you have the proprietary softwares. So licensing models are proprietary. So that is proprietary. And, free and open source. So these are the three licensing models right now we got. So these are the three licensing models we have. Right? Okay. So proprietary or commercial. So here what happens is, the ownership of the software. Ownership. In open source, the user becomes owner. In free, it is free to use, but you don't own that software. Okay, you are free to use that, you can use that. There is a difference between using and owning a software, right? There is a difference between, having your friend's car for any time you want, you can take that car. So your friend is very generous and you can take that car anytime you want. It is like yours car. That is free. Ownership means you are having complete rights on the car. If you want, you can sell that car. If you want, you can do alterations, modifications to that car. Right? So that is ownership. You have absolute right over that. So in free software, it is free to use, but it is okay, not no ownerships. And in commercial or proprietary software, what happens? Here also no ownership. You are only paying to use here. It is like, renting a car. So, you are paying to use that service or that software, but you are not owning that. Still, it is owned by Microsoft. Still, it is owned by Oracle. Still, it is owned by, IBM. So still it is owned by certain commercial company. So you are not the owner. You are paying to use that. That is license fee they got. So they don't say cost. That is the license they got. Cost of license, right? So that is what, in the proprietary or commercial, you are paying to use. So here, it is free. Okay. So, license fee. So it is free. So it is also free. So here, it is commercial. So you need to pay actually, right? You don't own, you have to pay. So in free, you don't own and you don't pay. In open source, you don't pay, still you own the software. Okay. Source code. So available to all. So not available. Nobody can have the source code. And here also, the source code is not available. Means, it is not made public. Public. So here also to public. So it is not available to public or users as well. So not just public, even the users don't get the source code. But whereas in open source, that is given to, the source code is given to everybody. Even if they are not the users, they can still have the source code. They can download Postgres source code from Git. It is up there in the Git. Okay. Ownership, license fees, source code. So these are the, what we say means, so few things, so few differences between, open source, free and proprietary or licensed software. Okay. In open source, because the source code is available to all, so users can modify the software. They can add or remove the features. Whereas in free and proprietary, the users cannot add new features or cannot remove existing features, because the source code is not available to them to do any kind of modification. So this is the difference between the open source, free and proprietary software. So many people, when I ask the question why people are going towards Postgres database or MySQL database, many people think they are free. So the companies are, saving on the license fees, right? Of course, they are free. And by using that, companies are definitely saving on license fees. But that is not why the companies are opting for Postgres or any other open source platforms. That is not the sole reason, or that is not the driving force. So for small companies, it might be the driving force that this database is free. So, and, instead of going for Oracle, so I can go for Postgres. So that could be a driving reason, or, a valid reason or a strong reason to go to, okay, Postgres, but not for big corporations. So they don't care paying some license fee to Oracle or Microsoft. They don't mind paying some license fees, right? So then why even the big corporations are moving towards open source? So the reason is the continuity. So the continuity of the solution, or the continuity of the software. So in the proprietary and free, the source code is not available to all, including the users, right? So tomorrow, by any reason, if the vendor closes the shop, the vendor closes the company. So just imagine, it is not going to happen. But in a worst case scenario, just imagine if Oracle company has closed the shop. So if it got closed, what happened to millions of Oracle database users, millions of companies and governments. So government agencies all around the world uses Oracle database. What happened to them? They have to migrate to some other, database like SQL Server or something. right? So there is no continuity there. Business continuity is not there. You have to risk in the vendor, right? The vendor, the proprietary software is a risk. It is identified risk, I'm not telling on my own. So, but in business continuity plans, it is one of the risk. What happens if the vendor closes the shop, right? So, it is not easy to change the database. Okay, it is not very easy for companies to migrate from one database to another database on fly. It is going to take a lot of efforts, almost 6 months to 1 year effort it is. Okay, so the business continuity can be guaranteed in open source because the source code is available for all. So so somebody or even the user or somebody or a consortium of users can come forward and they can start what we say means contributing to the development of the open source software. So business continuity is one of the main driving force for the open source software, rather the free because it is free. Okay, so for smaller organization it can be the strong reason to go to open source that it is free. But for larger corporation it is also the business continuity and eliminating the dependence on a vendor. Okay, so that is what so that is what the the reasons why people are moving towards open source software, including Postgres, right? So Postgres is an open source descendant of original Berkeley code. The original Berkeley, so Postgres was developed in University of California. So Postgres is a descendant of that original database. So what options it got? What features it got is, so it can support complex queries, foreign keys, and particularly the foreign keys are mentioned here. Many of the open source databases does not support foreign key or have partial support for foreign keys, right? So Postgres is not like that. It is like Oracle or SQL Server. So it supports foreign key. Triggers it supports. Updatable views, transactional integrity, asset compliance, I mean to say, multi-versioning and concurrency control, all these features are there. And coming to a bit of history about the Postgres and when it got developed. So you will be wondering, so Postgres is not what we say, what it looks like. Maybe the Postgres got the traction or got the what we say means, so it got popular very recently. Okay, but however, this database is very old database. So actually, you guys know when the RDBMS development started in late 1960s. EF Card proposed the 12 rules, card rules. So that laid the foundation of RDBMS, right? And he did, that guy EF Card did lot of research for data normalization, acid properties, and all. So he did some research. So he is like he is one of the main person who molded this RDBMS. Okay, and which is the first database, first RDBMS in the world? So it is the Oracle database. Oracle database is the first RDBMS in the world, which complied to the EF Card's rules. In the beginning, however, it didn't comply to all 12 rules, but it is the first database to at least incorporate some of the rules. So Oracle is the first RDBMS. The very next RDBMS, the second RDBMS is Ingress database. Ingress database, still it is there in the market. And it is developed by some professors in the University of California, so Berkeley campus. And this Ingress database was developed. And the guys who are part of the Ingress development, they went out of the university and they started their own company called as Ingress Corporation. And still that database is running. So, there are specific customers who uses Ingress. So there are some specific customers who uses Ingress. Okay. So that happened in, I think around 1975. So because, the database was developed in University of California. So, the University of California has equal rights on that source code, equal right on the product. So they have their own product. They have their own, what we say, database, which was, like, they were using, so they were using for teaching purposes, other academic purposes. Okay, they were using for academic purposes. Okay, so that is what, the Ingress database. So we have Ingress in university and Ingress from the Ingress Corporation, that is commercial version. Ingress in the university was purely for academic purposes. So what the University of California did is they wanted this software to be available for anybody who want to use. Okay, University of California, Berkeley campus provides a lot of free software. You can go to the Berkeley license. You can download a lot of free software they provide. Okay, so they they want to provide this database also, but not with the name Ingress, because already it is in the market as a commercial product. Okay, what they wanted is, a different name for the Ingress, so that they can also provide Ingress to the any person or anybody who wanted to use it. Maybe other universities, or maybe, some commercial organizations also. So they want to change the name of the Ingress for whatever code they have in their university. And, so what they came up with, Postgres. So Postgres is nothing but post of Ingress, post plus Ingress. So that is Postgres. It is the successor to Ingress, right? So that is the reason Postgres. And Postgres was free. So I think in 1980s, so this database was free for anybody to use. Okay. So, MySQL is not the first database to be free. So Postgres is the first database to be free. Okay. And then, the Postgres, so after some time, so, in 1995 or 96, so Postgres became, what we say means, the open source. Postgres became open source. So since then, the source code of Postgres is available for everyone. This is the first RDBMS to be open source. And it is there since a very long time, even before MySQL was there. So MySQL was there in the market. So Postgres there was already there in the market, and it is free, and also it is open source before MySQL database. So, but yet, MySQL database becomes so popular. So there are two reasons MySQL database became popular: because it is designed for specific applications. Postgres is designed to be an RDBMS, a pure RDBMS. Okay. It is much more purer RDBMS than Oracle or other commercial products. So anyways, the Postgres was there open source since very long time. And, now the Postgres development is very rapid. Every year we are getting a new major version. So every November they are releasing a new major version. Every year, every November, so they release a new version of Postgres. So some database limits we have in Postgres. So database size is unlimited. The database can grow to any extent. All of you guys are from Oracle background or SQL Server background? This question I also asked in the sizing or technical discussion also, but I forgot the answer what I received. So you guys are from Oracle background or SQL Server or other database background?
Mostly from the Oracle only, everybody, most of them.
Okay. Great. So database size is unlimited. Database can grow to any extent, any size, if you have the disk space. The number of databases are about 4 billion databases you can have. Yes, 4 billion data, 4.2 billion databases you can have per Postgres instance, per Postgres server. Okay. Relations per database, in Postgres, because it is developed in university, we use a lot of, academic terms. The relation is nothing but, a table. So in academic language, a relation is nothing but a table. Relation per database. So that means, simply tables per database, about 1.4 billion tables you can have per database. Okay. Relation size, that is table size. The maximum table size is 32 terabytes. So that is with the default block size of, 8 kilobytes. In Postgres, the block size is 8 kilobytes. Okay. So that is common for all, the block size. The only thing is in Postgres, you cannot change the block size. So in other databases allows you to change the block size right from, so 2 kilobytes to, 64, kilobytes or so. So, it has every database has a mechanism, that allows you to change the block size, but Postgres does not give any option to the DBS. So the block size is fixed 8 kilobytes. Rows per table. Okay. So each table can grow 32 terabytes. A database can have 1.4 billion tables. So every table, so, generally, so 32 terabytes, that is what the size is. So that roughly translates to, 4.2 billion pages, that is blocks. So that is roughly, 4.2 billion blocks, right? So, how many rows you can fit into that many blocks. So that is your, rows per table. So it is limited by this size, not by a number. Column per table. So every tables can have 1600 columns. So columns in the result set. So that is, the result set can contain, so 1664 columns. So this field size is 1 GB, identifier length. So that is, column length, the column names and all 63 bytes. So if you want to have longer column names, you need to recompile Postgres. So, in Postgres, you can change many of these defaults, but for each of them, so you need to, change the source code and compile it. So DBS are not going to do that. So I'm sure the DBS are not going to do that. So, nothing can be changed. Some of the things cannot be changed. Like, the identifier length, relation size, block size. So, that is 8 kilobytes. So that is fixed. You cannot change it. So this can be changed. The block size can be changed. Again, you have to download the source code. You have to do modifications in the source code, recompile the source code, and then, you can have a custom block size. Okay. So it cannot be changed from a configuration. So indexes per table unlimited, you can have so as many indexes as you want. But the thing is here, a term relation is a bit deceptive sometimes. So I said relation per database is 1.4 billion, right? The term relation also includes the indexes. So here, relations per database 1.4 billion means it is, the tables plus indexes can be 1.4 billion. That is the maximum. Tables plus indexes. Okay. Indexes per table is unlimited, but again, it is constrained by the maximum relations. Okay. So that is, indexes and tables together. So cannot be more than 1.4 billion. So whatever number is given. So if you are going for table partitions, so partition 32 partition keys you can use, and 32 columns you can use in index also. Common database object names. So generally in industry, we have certain terminology for databases. Because Postgres is developed in university, it uses academic terminology or book language it uses. It does not use the industry slang. Okay. So in industry slang or industry, we call it as, table or index. In the book language, that is, the academic language, both of them, either it is an index or a table. So that is called as, a relation. A row, generally we call it as a row, right? So that row is nothing but tuple. Okay. That row is nothing but tuple. That is called as tuple. It is very important to know these terms because so the error messages and other messages Postgres uses this term. So it does not say table not found if you are trying to query a table which does not exist. So it only say relation not found. So you have to make sure you have to, then translate it, or you have to, see it as table not found, right? So, the table or index is nothing but relation. Row is nothing but tuple. Column is nothing but attribute. A column is nothing but attribute. Okay. A data block, when it is on the disk, it is called as page. And when the data block is read and saved in the buffer, saved in the shared buffer, so that is called as buffer. Okay. It is always the data block, or the page or buffer, it is 8 kilobytes in size. So that is the standard. So if you want to change it, you need to, okay, recompile the whole Postgres. Okay. So these are the common database object names we use. Okay. Any questions here so far? I'm taking that as no questions, right? I'm taking that as everyone is good. Okay, so let's move forward. Okay, so let's move forward. Postgres database cluster. Now, when the term cluster comes, generally we assume that there are multiple servers, right? Multiple servers. So that is a wrong perception in view in our Postgres, because in Postgres, a database cluster so in general, so cluster means, so you have some nodes, okay? So you have some nodes, and these nodes are connected. So these nodes are connected, right? So these nodes are connected. So you may have, 3 nodes, 4 nodes, whatever number of nodes. So they are connected. So that is called as a cluster in general. But when it comes to Postgres, so when it comes to Postgres, the meaning of the cluster is different. It is also called as Postgres database cluster. So it is called as Postgres database cluster. So the Postgres database cluster is nothing but single instance of Postgres. It is the single instance of Postgres. So in the single instance of Postgres, so we have multiple databases. So we have multiple databases. Similar to SQL Server, if you are familiar with, or MySQL Server, so you can have multiple databases, right? So same way, so you can have multiple databases here. Okay, so it is called as the database cluster. Database cluster. So all of them runs under single Postgres server. They all run under single Postgres server. And they also share the common resources like shared buffer. So they share the redo logs, they share. So they share, things. So, but yet, all the databases are independent. So though they share the common resources like shared buffers, so the redo logs, so archive logs they share, for that is common for all databases. But you can have multiple databases. So like SQL Server. The only difference is here, okay. So the redo logs are shared, and the shared buffers are also shared among all databases. So that's the reason a single Postgres instance is called as a database cluster. So whenever we say cluster in Postgres, that means, a single Postgres database instance. So some of the terminologies are a bit different here in Postgres. So one of the most important thing is database cluster. We have to be very sure it is not multi-server, cluster like a Golden Gate or, some other thing, but it is just a single instance of Postgres. So major features of Postgres is it is written in C language. That's the reason it is portable. So right now it is available on Windows, Linux, Mac OS, and other platforms like Spark, FreeBSD. So it is also available on Solaris operating system, FreeBSD operating system, Mac OS, Linuxes, all Linuxes supports Postgres. So because, it is written in C, it is quite easy to port to any operating system which has a C compiler. Reliable, it is ACID compliant. ACID compliant is not selective here like MySQL. So in MySQL, you have ACID compliance, but it is selective. But here the ACID compliance is like Oracle database. So it is like Oracle database. Okay. Supports transactions. It supports transactions. Okay. Supports save points. Uses write ahead logging or val. So the val is nothing but, redo log. The val is nothing but redo log. It also supports redo logs. So what is the purpose of redo logs? Anybody can tell? Anybody can tell the purpose of redo logs?
It will have the DML DDL statements updated in the redo logs whenever a transaction updated in the DB. So each time a redo gets generated.
Yes. What is the purpose of that?
It records the transaction so that a RK will be generated and we can have it for the future purpose for the restore in case if it is required.
Exactly. Okay. The val is equal to redo log. So the purpose of the redo log is, or val log is, durability of the transaction. Durability of the transaction. The ACID is there, right? Okay. So what A stands for? Atomicity. C stands for? Anybody? Consistency. I stands for isolation. And D stands for durability. So the redo log or val log are there for this purpose. So, the durability of the transaction, as it talks about transaction, it does not talks about database. It does not talk about cluster. It does not talk about, the user session. It does not talk about all these things. It only talks about the current transaction. Okay. The durability of the transaction means once you commit the transaction, once the transaction is committed, it should not be lost. Okay, that is the durability. The computer fails for any reason. N number of reasons are there. Why the servers fail? Be it Oracle server, be it Postgres or SQL server. Okay, there are N number of reasons for the computer failure, right? So once a transaction is completed, and committed. So, it should not be lost. That is what the durability says. So, and that is achieved by all RDBMSs by having the redo logs. They will have the redo logs to ensure the ACID compliance. Okay, the D in ACID. So, that is, that is with, that is achieved through redo log or val log or transaction log in SQL server. So every database has their own, mechanism to ensure the durability, right? So here we are talking about the durability of the transaction, a committed transaction, not the ongoing transaction. So the durability of a committed transaction is guaranteed by, guaranteed, and that guarantee is fulfilled by having the val log. So when the system is successful of writing your transaction to the physical redo file on the disk, then only the user will get the success message of the transaction. Once you commit, you will get the success message, right? That happens. So that happens only when the transaction gets written to the physical redo log files or physical val files. Okay. So that ensures the durability of the transaction. Okay. So that is what that is what the purpose of the val is. And here we are learning about the Postgres calls it redo log as val. Okay, but the name might be different, but the purpose is same. Scalable. Postgres is scalable. It supports multi-version and concurrency control. Many users can use at a time. Many users can run their transactions at a time. So supports stable partitioning and also supports stable spaces to spread. So, storage across all file systems. So you have the table spaces as well. Employs host-based access control. Generally we should have a mechanism, DBS should have a mechanism to control who connects and who should be rejected, right? So generally we do it by having the user and password. So by creating users and passwords, we achieve who is going to connect, what they are going to see, so what data they are going to access. So all that thing we can control by user and password and grants. However, 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 their Postgres provides an extra layer of security. So that is called as host-based access control, which sits on top of the authentication and grants, on top of authorization. Before authentication is done, so host based access control is checked. So that is a number of rules you can write. Okay, and the connections are accepted if they fulfill one of the rule. So that is, host based access control. So probably as we progress, we will learn about, how to write the rules and how to control access to the database. So provides object level permissions like any other database, permissions at the database level, permissions at the schema level, permissions at the, so what we say means table level, view level, stored procedure level. So you can object level per. So supports logging and supports SSL. So you can also use SSL communication for client server. So that also you can use to secure, okay, data over the network. Okay. So security in data transmission. So using SSL. So you can take the certificates from, certificate vendors, or you can also generate open source certificates. During our lab, so what we will do, one of the lab exercise, so we generate the SSL certificates and we use the SSL certificates. So for our lab machine. Okay. So Postgres supports streaming replication, and it supports archiving. So point in time recovery. So all these things are pretty much similar like Oracle database, right? So archiving is there. So almost same like Oracle database. Only thing is how you do that differs, but concept is same. Point in time recovery. If you have archiving, so you can do point in time recovery also. If you have not enabled archiving, so you may not be able to do point in time recovery. So you can do hot backups, PG based backup and all. So supports triggers and functions, stored procedures. So we are going to learn in our course. So supports a language called as PLPGSQL, like PLSQL you have. So PLPGSQL is there. That is also almost like PLSQL. Almost 90-95% it is like PLSQL only. So, but there are few differences. Anyhow, we have a 4-hour session for PLPGSQL. So we will complete. Apart from PLPGSQL, if you are interested to write your stored procedures, functions, and triggers in another languages, so Postgres also supports Perl, TCL, a C-like language. It is Perl, so Perl language, PHP, Java language also it supports. So by default, these extra languages are not included. Only PLPGSQL is included. So if you want them, you need to install and use it. So it also supports unlocked tables. So you know the unlocked tables, right? Oracle also has unlocked tables, right? So what is a unlocked table? Anybody? Anybody? What is an unlocked table?
Maybe the table which has no logging options, which doesn't generate any archives.
Exactly. Unlocked table means, the redo log is not generated for that. If you do any transaction on unlocked tables, redo log is not generated. Okay. So why we need a unlocked tables? So data access from unlocked table is faster compared to the normal tables. The only problem with the unlocked tables is if the server crashes, so you lose the data. There is no crash recovery, and also you cannot perform any point in time recoveries on unlocked tables. So there is always the transactions are not durable in unlocked tables. I mean to say, the transactions are not durable in unlocked tables because the val log is not generated, the redo log is not generated. So if you do any data changes to unlocked tables, so those changes are not durable. You may lose data. Got it? Okay. So materialized views. So same as materialized views in Oracle. So we have materialized views in Postgres also. So any questions from features?
Hey, hi, Sami. Suvankar here.
Sure.
Actually, I am from DB to DB. I mean, I'm not from Oracle.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I have one question that as you said, ki if we need to change the block size like from 8K to 16K or somewhere, we need to write the codes and we need to recompile like that. So that we
Yes.
cannot do that. That can be done by developer or something. So is it possible if
Anybody, that can be done only by anybody who is familiar with database programming.
okay? So for some cases, for example, some type of requirement is came in our project. So can we get support from somewhere from Postgres like we are getting same from Oracle, or for DB2 we are getting from IBM that they have
Yeah,
written
you
we
can
can.
get. I will show you from where you can get the support.
Okay, one more questions. As instance, you are saying we have multiple database. In DB2
Yes.
also we have the same. So
Yes.
like that, you are saying that they are sharing the share buffer and that even redo logs like such
Yeah.
sub
So
something.
share the same redo log and share buffer.
Okay. So in DB2, what happened? For example, in your instance, there is two database. One is very critical, one is very less critical, like testing purpose. So can we update the buffer or something like that? We have given more memory or more things to critical database, and that second one, which is less important, that we can give in less memory like that, or less buffer, like such type of what I say, custom is available in Postgres. In DB2 we have.
So yeah, in DB2 you have. So I am not very much familiar
Haha,
with
that's why
DB2.
I asked that question.
So but you put the question very straightforward.
Hmm.
So in Postgres, we don't have that option. So you cannot give priority to what we say means a database to use more shared buffer than other database. All will have the equal. So it follows the rules like LRU rule like any other database. So whichever data is queried lot, so that data will be having priority of retention in the shared buffer. So if the test database data is accessed a lot, so definitely it is going to take the use up lot of buffer. So that is there. You cannot prioritize based on database like you are doing in DB2. Hope
Okay.
that answers your question.
Yes, yes. So for example, we have 2 GB share buffer, okay, and we have two database. So can we, I mean, for example, test database, it is not using a single buffer, it is not usable on that time. And the another one that is accessible more. So on that time, that's second one, I mean, which is critical one, that how much buffer I mean, that database can use, like till 2 GB, or it will left something for test DB.
Yeah, the
What?
buffer is divided or used not based on the database.
Okay.
So how the buffer is occupied is, how frequently the data is queried. So, if you are querying the production database a lot,
Hmm.
so you are retrieving the data, you are doing more transactions on production database. So are on specific tables of production database. So that data will be there in the buffer. So it will get the priority because it is getting access to more. So, Postgres give priority to that to retain in the buffer so that, the queries run fast. And that tables are data which is less frequently accessed, right? So that does not get priority and that get evicted because nobody is querying that much. So it has to
Yeah,
give
yeah.
priority to only that data which is frequently queried. So that is on that basis. So the Postgres will make sure what data retains in the buffer and what data is evicted from the buffer. It depends on how frequently the data is accessed. Okay, here table does not play any role, or here database does not play any role. It is only how frequently the data is accessed. Hope you got your answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's say we forget about database. I'm talking about just one table. So the table has, a million rows the table has. But out of those million rows, only let us say, a 10,000 rows are frequently queried.
Hmm.
So you have million, but out of that million, 10,000 rows are frequently, very frequently, somebody is querying them.
Hmm.
Okay. So you may have those 10,000 rows always in the shared buffer if the shared buffer is big enough. But remaining rows, that will be there only if the shared buffer is big enough. So to hold them, even the unused rows or less frequently used rows will be there in shared buffer. So, that only if, the shared buffer is big enough. Okay, it will give less priority to keep the less used data in the shared buffer, and it will give more priority to retain the frequently used data in the shared buffer. So hope you got it now how it works in Postgres.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so any other questions?
No. And what is the use of unlock table? I mean, in DB2 we don't have, that's why I'm asking the question. What is the use of that
Okay,
table?
okay, sometimes, we want some tables. Okay, so, some tables we want to do quick inserts, updates on the tables without overhead of transactions. The transactions, because of the durability, the transactional tables are, takes a more time for completing the work. Unlock tables does not have all that. So they don't
Okay.
have. So, they are faster in access. So if you have any application, less what we say means important data, but that data needs to be very fast. That data needs to be processed very fast. So, but
Hmm.
the importance of the data is less. So you can use unlock table for that. So the danger in the unlock table is, they are not durable. That means, the transactions are not durable. So you always have the chance of losing the last transaction in event of a crash. So because we don't have the redo logs for them, and point in time recovery is also not possible. So these are the two restrictions we have. So our disadvantages we have for unlock table. The advantage is speed of transaction is much higher compared to normal tables.
Okay, okay. Got it. Thank you,
Okay,
sir.
Sami, I have a question on that.
sure.
So if unlock table, we use it. We did many transactions, okay? We took the risk. And once we commit, will it recorded in redo logs after
No,
commit? Wow.
no, it is
Mhm.
not recorded in redo log. It won't wait till you commit. So as soon as you complete your insert, so it goes into the table. So
Okay.
no redo log here, direct table,
Mhm.
data file, or rather I would say, it goes
Okay.
directly into the data file.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so unlock when you create a table, so you have the option to declare it as unlock table. So if you are willing to take the risk, generally the data which is not very important and which can be lost, so only for that type of data you have to use unlock tables. Okay, so
Or
expendable data are not that important data, right?
yes, I mean, or I think we can use those data which is only used for select purpose, fetching data, so we can use that table.
Yeah,
It will faster and it will not change any data, so it will be faster. Like that, maybe. I'm not sure.
yeah.
I'm just
Sometimes they have many uses for that.
huh. Sometimes we
So that
only
is,
fetch data for report purpose or something like that.
yes, yes. Okay.
Okay.
So Postgres in public cloud. So nowadays, people are using AWS cloud and Azure cloud, GCP, Google cloud, right? So, and these clouds are offering database as service as well. So the Postgres, okay. So Postgres, for Postgres, there is a company called as Enterprise DB. So they do support, and they also responsible for some of the developments in Postgres. Enterprise DB company, you can check out the website. So Enterprise DB. So this is the company where most of the Postgres development happens. And these guys also supports Postgres. If you need any kind of support, so you can go to this company as well. Okay. So EDB is the company name, Enterprise Database. So this company also provides a database as service. So using EDB Big Animal. Okay, that is called as EDB Big Animal. So it is provided by Enterprise DB. So that is the database, that is one provider. And RDS for Postgres. RDS is provided by AWS. So many database they provide, including Oracle and SQL Server. So from commercial databases, I think. Apart from Oracle and SQL Server, they also provided for MySQL, Postgres, MariaDB. So 5, 6 databases they provide. So Postgres is one of them. And database as service provided at Amazon cloud. It is a self-managed database, easy and quick to deploy with minimal DBA. So the DBA activities required. So you don't need to manage, the regular database. There is no need for DBS to always monitor, manage this, because everything is automated in DBA database as service. Whether you take from EDB, RDS, anybody, so minimal administration overhead. So RDS for Postgres is provided by Amazon Public Cloud. So, but remember, so RDS Postgres is so not 100% post, means you don't have access to complete access to the database. So you cannot change much of the configuration. So you have some restriction there. It is not you can do everything like on premises database. So only few things are allowed. So some configuration changes you are allowed, so you can do that. Backup is taken automatically, so you have the option to select the frequency. That's it. So backups are taken so very frequently. So whatever frequency you have mentioned, but automated. So no need for you to worry about, but you also have less control on any of the, what we say means, so you have less control on the database on any of the public clouds. So Aurora database for Postgres. So this is also provided by Amazon Cloud, AWS Cloud. So this is not 100% Postgres. It is a modified version of Postgres, Aurora database for Postgres and Aurora database for MySQL. You have two options in AWS. So both of them are not 100% their respective, means Aurora for Postgres means, so it is not 100% Postgres. It is a modified version of Postgres. So you can deploy a multi-master cluster in that. Okay, Aurora database for Postgres. So these two options are from AWS, RDS for Postgres and Aurora database for Postgres. And in the AWS or any cloud, you can also purchase a compute instance and you can install on the compute instance. Compute instance in the cloud is equal to a virtual machine. So you can have a virtual machine and you can do installation. It is like, a normal server. Or, you have the option of database as service, or, it is self-managed database. Aurora database for Postgres is called as self-managed. You don't need to do anything here. Only you need to give specification. I need a 3-node cluster in so and so geographic location. It will do for you. Okay. So that is Aurora. And apart from AWS, you also have Azure database for PostgreSQL. That is also database as service, DBAAS. And Cloud SQL for Postgres, that is from Google Cloud. Cloud SQL for Postgres. Okay, so these are the options you have. The EDB big animal is what we say the most, okay, so most likely, most what we say means Postgres cloud database as service we have. Others are a bit modified versions. Aurora is actually, it is 100% modified version, except a few, so it is almost 100% modified. So, so all other, cloud options are, not exactly the same Postgres what we have, but big animal, EDB big animal is 100% pure Postgres because it is provided by Enterprise DB. So these are the cloud options we have. Any questions here? Okay, so I'm taking that as no questions. Okay, so that is about, a bit of introduction to our Postgres. So, but it is, we didn't discuss, the architecture of Postgres, only introduction to Postgres. Okay, anyways, our next topic is installation. So what we do now is, we will take a small break. So we'll come back and then we will do the installation. That is what we do for today. Okay. So up to installation we do for today. Okay. So we take a 15 minutes break. So not exactly 15 minutes, but 14 minutes break actually. Okay. Okay, so we'll take a quick break and we'll come back and we will start the installation. Hope everyone is back. Okay. So I'm assuming everyone is back. Okay. And I will proceed. So our next topic, and not only just next topic, so topic rest of the day. Topic for rest of the day is we will install Postgres. So before installing Postgres, we need to understand so what options we have for Postgres, what editions you have. Particularly in Oracle, you have, 2, 3 editions, right? So we have editions here also. So oh, wow. Okay. Okay. Basically, we have 2 editions. We don't have many editions, only 2 editions are there. So number 1 is Postgres SQL Community Edition. So Postgres SQL Community Edition. So it is GNU licensed. Or simply open sourced. And the second one is Postgres Enterprise Edition. So this is commercial. So from EDB. So as I said, as I showed you the EDB portal, right, website. So they provide a enterprise edition. So this is also called as PostgreSQL Advanced Server. So community enterprise edition or PostgreSQL Advanced Server. So which is provided by EDB and it is commercial. So there are no major differences between either it is community edition or enterprise edition. There are no differences. In terms of, software performance or, the capacity. So there are no differences. However, enterprise edition comes with support. So support is provided for enterprise edition. So enterprise edition comes with support. Okay, extra tools. Okay, extra tools, extra features. Extra features like AD integration. So AD integration is Active Directory integration. So by default in community edition, we don't have AD integration, but whereas, the enterprise edition have the AD. So some extra tools, extra features are included in the enterprise edition. So that is it. And, it comes with support. So by default, so in general, in the for open source software, it is the support they charge. They cannot charge for software. Okay, they cannot charge for software. They only need to charge for support. So that's what they do. Okay, so from EDB you can purchase the enterprise. So EDB, so you can create an account and so you can purchase. So they also give the trail versions. So they also give the trail versions and other things. So that is about the EDB commercial editions. So software, so advanced server. So you have all these things, and support is also there. Professional services. So they also provide remote DBA. So generally we don't want that remote DBA. So we want to administer, right? So anyways, so this is the company, so which provides enterprise edition of Postgres. This is also the company, so which does a lot of what we say means development for Postgres apart from the community. So the main website for Postgres is postgres.org. So this is the main website. So the community edition of Postgres is downloadable from here. So you can download. The current version is 15 version. So the last year's version is 14, 13, 12, 11. So you have many versions here. So from here you can download the Postgres. And so this is also place where you can, so you can go to the community and you can, so here you have the announcements, Postgres development always come here, and Planet Postgres SQL is a blog. So you can follow this blog. So, and you will get all the updates about the Postgres. So it's not like, the Oracle sending you every 3 months or so updates. It is, you have to go to this blog and find what's happening with Postgres to keep yourself up to date. Okay. So, and you also have the mailing list. Okay. So you can send to this mailing list any questions or anything. So journal support questions, there is no SLA, there is no guaranteed. So there is no guaranteed response, but the response will come as if it is guaranteed. So, you can post your questions and all to the mailing list. Somebody will answer this. Somebody will answer this. Okay. So only thing is, assured SLAs are not there. But however, people are very active and they will answer your questions. So IRC is also there. So you can also use that. And, support we have. Support version policy, professional services. So somebody was asking where we can get the support, right? one of the place for the support is EDB. And here also you have, so professional services. There are so many companies which are providing professional services for Postgres. So you have the service groups in Africa, Asia, Europe, North America, Oceania, and South America. So we will check for Europe, as all of us are in, Asia, all of us are in Asia. So there are so many companies which are providing. So for example, this company, so W3WWIT, so it is in China. So they also provide, so 24 into 7. They had an employee strength of 10 to 50 people. So this is another company, 100 DBA, so US. So they only have 10, they don't have 100 DBS. So the office locations are USA, Indonesia, and Singapore. So 11 DB Asia. So they also have 10 employees. So they have in Indonesia, Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand, Philippines, all of the East Asia they are covering. Okay. So contact information is also giving, including the WhatsApp numbers. Second quadrant, it is an EDB company. And they are very much active in the development of Postgres. It is earlier the second quadrant company was GoTo company. It was recently purchased by EDB. So they did a lot of work for Postgres, and they are responsible for many new features which have been added to the Postgres. So if you want any very authentic work, very authentic support for Postgres, so then second quadrant is your company. So they have 100 to 150 members worldwide. So they provide support in English, Spanish, Italian, German languages. So they provide consultancy, they provide a lot of things for you. Okay. So, if anything is very reliable, any company is very reliable, that is second quadrant. So then we have this avian Ivan Postgres. So that also provides. Alibaba Cloud also provides, but only for that Alibaba Cloud customers, basically. I am not sure whether they are open to provide support for outsiders, means non-customer. So Altnix is another company. So it is in United States, Ireland, India. So 40 to 50% are there. So I don't know much about it. AWS Web Services is only for, if you have AWS, using AWS, not for, others. So Ariman, so this is also Indian company, looks like. So Tamil and English. So these are the companies which provide support. So most of them has given, the email addresses. Some of them also given, so, phone numbers, WhatsApp numbers also some of them has given. Okay. So like, for example, this is Aura Imanting Technology Private Limited. So it is in India, I think in Delhi. So phone numbers and all are given. Okay. So mostly whatever you find here, companies, they are to some extent reliable. So, they are to some extent reliable. That's the reason they find a place in this website. Okay. So many companies are there, you can see, which provide support. Almost every company, every country in Asia has Postgres support. Tata Whale, I think. This is from Hyderabad. It is operating Mumbai and Bangalore, Toronto, Colorado. So this company. So almost every company has given, most of the companies has given their phone numbers as well. Some of the companies has given only the email address. Some of them has given website, email address, phone numbers, all. So, it depends on company to company. So EDB is the main developer of the Postgres right now. So you can also get services from EDB. So many are there. Last time I checked, so these many were not there. So now new companies got registered. So most of these companies are reliable. That's the reason they found a place in this website. Always remember that. So many companies are there right now. It's like, never ending list. Okay. Anyways, yeah. So finally the list ended, and this is only the Asia list. We also have Africa list. We also have Oceania list. So, so we have so many. Even in Nepal, you find one company. So providing Postgres support. Okay. So in a lot of countries, you have the companies which are providing localized Postgres support. So for support, you can approach these companies. They will charge you something. So depending on the size of the companies may, so generally what we say means charge less or more depending on their reputation, depending on their what we say means so clientele and all. What I would suggest is, while selecting the company to support, so for support services, so you select a good company. The reason why is, so there are some technical issues which can be resolved by tweaking something in the operating system or something in the database, like, changing the parameters and such things. So that is that even a DBA, any DBA can do that, right? Or any DBA plus system administrator can do that. But there are certain issues which a DBAs or system administrators cannot resolve. That is bugs. So bug reporting and the sometimes some complicated issues are there. You need very specialized support. Like earlier today somebody asked, so what if we want the support on recompiling and all. So not all service providers can provide such a high level support. You need to go wherever you need the recompilation. So my suggestion is, so I am not sure on the capabilities of other companies, but my suggestion is go to second quadrant. So it goes to the EDB, but go to the second quadrant company. So they are reliable. Earlier, this was the independent company, but recently, so it is been purchased by EDB. So this is the main company. This is the main company which provides so programming level support. Okay. Generally, if you go to the Oracle support, what happens is, the support team will they will look into the meta links and they will provide solution. If it doesn't work, they will escalate to very senior technical guys. So if it also doesn't work, ultimately the issue will be escalated to the developers, the people who wrote Oracle database, right? So, they will have ultimate answers for all of the issues. So that is where, this second quadrant is very, very reliable because they know in and out of the Postgres database code. So they know in and out of the Postgres database code. Now it is an EDB company. So they know that they have the intimate knowledge of, Postgres. So any type of modifications or anything, so they can do for you. Okay. So that is what you have to keep in mind. So if you want any engagement, like, you have a project, you are migrating some data. So, or you are establishing, you are establishing a cluster. So, high availability clusters and all. So, you can go with most of these companies. Anybody can provide you support for on that data migration and all. Anybody, any of these companies listed here, so can provide the support. So I will share this link as well. So you can also go and use this link. I will put it in the chat. Okay. So this is where, you can find the support. Many of the for projects like migration project or a deployment project, you need an extra hands. So, so you can take the help of any of those companies which are listed here. But when you are looking for very high level support, like recompiling the database and all, so my advice is go to second quadrant. They are the best. So they are the best. Hope everybody so got the point, right? Any questions here? So if you found any bug in Postgres, so what you can do is you can report the bugs. So bug reporting is there. So you can report the bugs. So already I have an account here. So, I can just sign in. So it is a free account. Anybody can, sign in. So, you can just simply sign in and you can submit. So your bug. Okay. So that is what, you can create a free account here. So, and you can, get, if you have a free account, they also send the emails containing, latest developments in the Postgres. Okay. So you can use the mailing list. You can do everything here. So you can also look for some professional services. The link is here. Okay. So, so I don't want to change the passwords. So I don't have any organizations yet. I can create this. So I didn't submitted any data. So I know, I think, so no subscription. So I can subscribe. So, you create a free account here. So that, you can, submit bugs and all. So that is about, our, so where to get the support. So postgresql.org is the website from where you get your support, right? This is the website, always remember. So you can also engage people for technical support, technical help. You can engage people. Okay, so let's move on. Um, Downloading the community edition download. If you want commercial edition, so that is advanced server. So you can go to the EDB site, you can create your account, you can pay your fees and you can download the software. So it is electronically distributed. So that is what, you have to download. They don't send any CDs in a box or kind of, they don't send anything like that. So it is, you need to download. So for, enterprise edition, so for free edition, that is community edition. So PostgreSQL downloads. So once you come to the download page by clicking on the download link, so you will be presented these. So, you have packages and installers. So for Linux, for Mac OS, for Windows, for FreeBSD, and for Solaris. So for these operating systems, you have packages, installers, I mean to say. And you also have the post source code. If you want source code, you can get from here. There are some third party distributions also. So like, Linux, Apache, PHP, Postgres SQL, that is lab, Mac OS, Apache, so that is map, Windows WAP, so you can also download them. So you will have a pre-configured Postgres, Apache web server, PHP, so configured with Apache web server and Postgres database. So, so these are the, what we say means, this is the downloads page. I am looking for Postgres on Linux. Why Postgres on Linux? Why not on Windows? Why not on Mac OS? In general, I have seen many production environments where Postgres runs on Linux. That is like a default. Rarely I have seen Postgres running on Windows operating system in production environments. Okay, Mac OS you can install on your, what we say means, for generally Mac server. Nobody have a Mac server. So you have either Linux servers mostly or Windows server. To some extent, there are some free BSD servers and Solaris servers also. So, but mostly people use Linux for Postgres. The reason is very, very simple. The reason is very simple. Linux is also open source and free, and Postgres is also open source and free. So generally, people who want to save the money, this is the best combination. People who want the continuity, in that case also it is the best combination, right? However, you can use Postgres on Windows. Earlier, we used to have a lot of restrictions on Windows, but now, it is almost same like Linux. Okay. So I want to download for Linux. Again, Linux means, it is not just one operating system like Windows. You have Debian Linux, you have Red Hat Linux, you have SUSE Linux, Ubuntu Linux, and other Linuxes also. It is also for the asking you, so where you want, which Linux you are using. That's the question, right? So we need an answer for this question. So which one we want? We are sure, we have a Linux server out there on our lab machine, but what Linux it is using? Debian, Red Hat, SUSE, Ubuntu, other Linux. So let's go and check. So, okay, not here. Okay, I am connected to my lab machine. I am logged into, Linux machine. So I want to know what kind of Linux it is. So there are few commands you can run to find out. So this is etc OS release. So, okay. So one more thing is, I am typing some commands here. So you also need this command as a reference, right? So what I have is in the lab machine, which is given to you, you launch the Chrome browser. In Chrome browser, you have this link here, you have a shortcut here, or, so what we can call bookmark here. Okay. So click on the bookmark and you will get this notepad. So this notepad can be accessed from anywhere. It is online notepad. So whatever commands I do here, so I will just paste those commands. So this command I ran, so I am pasting that command. So you will also get the same command. You can also see the same command. So you can also open, this is what a easy to remember thing. So you can just easy to remember this thing, notepad.pw/dxc, that is your company, 2304, that is, year 23 and April. Okay. So it's a simple URL. You can just log in from your phone also. You can get this notepad. So you are able to get it. Just try it. So you are able to open that notepad. Even in your phone, you can try. So if you go to the lab, you have the bookmark in the Chrome browser. So everybody is able to access this notepad.
Yes, we are able to access.
Great. Great. So from your phone, from your even your office laptop also, there should not be any problem for this. So you should be able to access this notepad from your office laptop, from your phone, and also it is accessible from your lab machine. That is more important because that is where you are doing all the work. So whatever commands I use during the training, so I will paste these commands day wise. So day wise, I paste these commands so that so you can also use. So what is the output of this command tells us that we are using CentOS version 8. Okay, CentOS version 8 we are using, but the architecture it has not mentioned here. So for architecture, you need to use another command uname-a. So this command tells me I am using x86 64-bit architecture. Now the operating system, the hardware architecture are more diverse. Like so, you have x86, that is Intel processors. You have ARM, that is the ARM processors. So you have Spark, that is Solaris processors. The Sun Machines processors. You have different architecture, Power PC architecture. So you have different architectures. So this is x86. Our lab machine is x86, means Intel processors. So it is a server using Intel processors, okay, which is called as x86. 64 indicates 64-bit operating system. So the kernel version is 4.180.448. That is the kernel version. And EL8 it says. EL stands for Enterprise Linux. That is Red Hat Enterprise Linux 8. So for Intel architecture servers. So this dbserver.example.com is the host name. So that is the host name of my machine, or our lab machines. So my machine is a CentOS version 8 machine on x86 architecture. That is what I am able to find it. So that is what I am able to find here. How much RAM is there? So already we can check from here. So the assigned memory is 2 GB memory is there. So that is more than enough for lab machines. But on production servers, so you need to increase that. Generally, most of the open source databases works with very less RAM and less resources. So that doesn't mean that they can crunch a lot of data in less RAM. So that only means that they can run in less RAM. But if you have lot of data, then you need to bump up or increase the RAM. Okay. So that is about, the RAM, how much RAM we have given. So from that, probably on production servers, you may not have access to. So, you can use free M. So, or better you use free. So this command gives you how much RAM is there in bytes or megabytes. So the free command tells you how much installed RAM we have. So these commands, I think you are pretty much familiar, right? Linux commands. In case if you are not, so so this is what we have these commands for. So you can also check CPU cores also from proc systems, how many cores you have, you can check. There is a command for that. CPU info. Okay, addresses. Okay. Okay. So genuine Intel CPU FAM model name it is giving. So CPU speed also it is giving 2.1 gigahertz it is. So core ID is 0 and only one core I think. So only one core. CPU cores just one. Okay. So you can have more cores also depending on that in our lab machine because it is a virtual machine. So one core we have. So we can have more than one core also. Okay. So the command I use to get this information is CPU info. So you can get more information about the CPU. So installed CPU by using this Linux means this file CPU info from proc file system. So this is how I found some information. I got familiar with the server I am trying to use here. Okay. So this is the server I am trying to use, which is a Intel server. Okay. And which has about 2 gigabytes of RAM. So x86 architecture. So this is the host name. Okay. So you can also see how many network cards are configured. So right now only one network card is there. So this is what we say means IP4 loopback address, and this is IP6 loopback address. So only one network card, and we only have IP4 address here. So all that information I have gathered to understand what server I have in question. Okay. So only I gathered the information about the server because it came to me. So first of all, before I do anything, so I need to understand what it is. So what is the Linux it is installed on? What is the hardware architecture? How many CPUs we have? How many? So what we say means how much RAM we have? So how many network cards we have? So what is the IP address? So all such things we should know. So that is what I digged out all this information. Okay. Any questions? Okay. Now coming to this download page. So right now I know about my server. I should be able to download Postgres. So, select your Linux distribution. Mine is CentOS, right? So CentOS, I'm clicking on CentOS, Rocky Linux, and the Red Hat family, generally we call it. It includes Red Hat Enterprise Linux, Rocky Linux, so CentOS, Fedora, Oracle Linux. Okay. So it says CentOS 7 and 6 only, but it also includes 8 and 9 also. Okay. So which version of Postgres I want? So you can select the version. So we have right from 11, so till 15. So totally 5 versions are there. So let's say I want 14 version. Select your platform. So CentOS, or it is 8 version of Red Hat. Okay. So architecture is x86. So that is Intel processor, and what other we have, PowerPC processor and ARM processor. So ARM architecture, 64-bit PowerPC architecture, 64-bit, and Intel architecture, 64-bit. So these are the 3 hardware architectures on which you can run Postgres on Linux. Okay. So once you select, it will give the script. So you copy this script and you can run it. So you will get that everything. If the server is connected to the internet, you don't need to do anything. Simply copy this script and paste it on the server. So it will do everything for you. Okay. So, but that is not we are going to do. So that is not we are going to do, because in production environments, in real production environments, even the test and development servers does not have access to the internet, outside internet, right? So there is no question of downloading. Okay, here, a lot of download happens. So there is no question of downloading here. Okay, so that's the reason, what we need is software download and then install, right? So you have direct RPM download at the bottom. So you can, simply say direct download and manual installation, because on most of the production systems, so you don't have access to internet for the server. So we have Postgres 16 that is still under the build development. So even we didn't have the beta version yet. So we have Postgres 15. So for, Red Hat 8, you can go x86. So this is Red Hat 9 Arch Linux and Red Hat 9 x86. So Red Hat 8 Arch Linux, Red Hat 8 x86. So for 7, you also have for PowerPC. But for 8 and 9, you don't have for PowerPC. Architecture is not supported, because PowerPC architecture Red Hat itself is not supported. So same thing for Postgres 14 also. So Red Hat Rocky Linux x86-64. This is the architecture and this is the Linux version we have. Click. And there you got all the RPMs. Okay. So what are all RPMs you needed? So are here. What I did is, I already downloaded the software and I have saved it here. So if you do an ls property, so you can see software folder. So go to software folder. And you have from 13 to 15 version you can install any version you want. So what we'll do is we will go with 14 version and later on we can upgrade to 15 version. Okay. So we will go with 14 version. So for any reason, if you want to install 13 version, you are welcome to install. On one single server, you can install multiple versions of Postgres. So there is no conflict and nothing. So you can install multiple versions of Postgres. All of them can run parallelly. So in our lab, we will install version 14. So, and then, so later on during the course, at the end of, towards the end of the course, we will upgrade from version 14 to version 15. Okay. So what I need to do is just do CD version 14. So these are the 4 RPMs I have copied here. So what I will do is I will demo the installation. Once my installation is completed, I will give you half an hour so that you can complete the installation. While I am installing, just watch what I am doing. So, and once I complete the installation, I will give the time for you to complete the installation. Okay. That works. Okay. So our user, the admin user, right? So we are in admin user. So it also belongs to wheel group. Generally, the wheel group users are administrative users. So wheel group users are administrative users. Okay. So that means an administrative user in Linux operating system so can install the software, uninstall the software, start and stop the service. So all such things, so administrative users can do. Okay. So we can check so admin whether the user is administrative user or not. So by giving the command ID and the username. If the user has the group wheel, so as the primary group or as the secondary groups, so then definitely that user is a administrative user. Okay. So our admin user is an administrative user because its group is wheel group. So it is a reserved group in Linux operating system. So we have these RPMs to install. Okay. So I want to install these RPMs. So what is the process here is very simple. I will just explain what is the process. So order of installation. So first of all, you need to install the libs. First install libs RPM, then install client RPM. Third, install servo RPM. And fourth, install contrib RPM. So contrib RPM is contribution RPM. So the some of the what we say means features which Postgres lacks are included in contrib RPM. So you install that. So though most of the contrib RPM consist of third-party modules, but they are reliable. Okay, so you can trust them. So these are the 4 RPMs we need to install. in the same order: lives, then clients, then server and country. In that, so on any server, if you just want the clients only, so this is what the client part. So these two RPMs are Postgres clients. So Postgres client. On whichever machine you just want the client, Postgres client, so these two RPMs you need to install. Okay. So if you want server as well, then you install the server RPM. Okay. So that is the 4 RPMs we have here. So you can see the lives here. And the client is this one. So, and the server is this one, and contrib is this one. So we are using a version 14 version of Postgres, and the subversion, or so the patch level, whatever you say, is 6. Okay. Major version, minor version, it is also called as minor version. For example, so we are installing 4.6. Sorry, 14.6. So in this, the 14 is major version. And 6 is minor version. Same like, other databases. So minor version is also called as patch level. So patch level. Sometimes, it is a slang word, patch level, but, generally we should call it as minor version. So what we are installing in our lab is, so Postgres 14.6 version. So that is 14 is the, and 0.6 is minor version, and you can check out. So I am using the same version number here for all of them. For all of them, I am using the same version number. So for client 14.6, for contrib also 14, for lives also 14.6, and server also 14.6. For all of them, it is 14.6. Okay. Installation does not take a lot of time. So particularly, first of all, let me check something. So let me check RPM-QA Postgres. So I is for ignoring the case. So we don't have any Postgres packages installed right now. Installation. So we will start with, lives installation. So the command to install is sudo. So RPM -ivh. So, first of all, I need to install, the lives RPM. Okay. Libraries I need to install. So it will ask for the admin password, give the password for admin user. So in no time, so in few seconds, so it will complete that lives installation. Once I install the lives, I will go to the client. I'll go to the client. So sudo RPM-ivh. So Postgres SQL. So the client RPM. So it will also get installed in few seconds. See how fast it is. So once I have installed the client RPM, so actually I am done with the installation of client. The next thing I need to install is PostgreSQL server RPM. Okay. Now my server installation also completed. It does not take much time. So it does not take a lot of time. So in few seconds, it will be over. And the last is contrib RPM. So contrib RPM installation is also successful. All 4 RPMs I have installed, so my installation is over. So my installation is over. Okay. So the steps are installation, after installation, database cluster initialization. Then start service. So that is, then post installation. So these are the steps, and we are good that, we completed the first step. So then we need to complete the second, database cluster initialization. So before we go to the cluster initialization, so I want to inquire, so find out what happened when I did the installation, right? So the few things here happened. So it created a user called as Postgres. This user was created by, so the RPM, server RPM installation. When you installed server RPM, so this user is created. And we use this user to log in and manage Postgres. Okay, like, you have Oracle user in Oracle from where you can log in and manage Oracle database, right? So this is an equivalent user. Okay.
Sami, Surya here.
Tell me.
Yeah, I have a doubt. For installation, we are having different methods of installation, right? If we take it in Oracle, means we used to do in GUI manual, and now we have RPM based installations that which has everything is in pack, and just we need to install that RPM. So is that the way something like Postgres also we have something manual installation?
Edition, you don't have, this is the RPM installation is one thing, and you
Okay.
have the DNF installation. So if you have direct internet connection to the server, so you can do DNF or YUM installation, we call it. GUI installation is there in for Windows.
Okay.
So for Linux, it is RPM installation.
Okay.
Actually, in Windows also, people are moving away from the GUI to, non-GUI Windows, right? So, so in here, you have the RPM installation in general. So because production servers don't have access to the internet, right? So that's the reason the yum commands and DNF commands, they don't work because they have, again, they are also non-GUI, command line only. So hope you got your answer.
Yeah, thank you.
In Linux, no GUI. Okay. So this user is automatically created. This user is automatically created. When you install the server RPM, so when you install Libs and client RPM, nothing happens. So it only copies those files, libraries, and executable files. But when you install server RPM, it will copy the server files. And also it will create this user, Postgres. The user name is Postgres. And its home directory is where lib PGSQL, you can see. And it has the bin bash, that is the shell, default shell of Postgres user, bin bash. Okay, this is what happened. Other thing, what happened here is, USR PGSQL 14. We installed the 14 version of Postgres, right? It has created PGSQL 14 directory. So in that directory, you have binary dog lib share. So you go to the binary. So, you have all your, this is where the entire Postgres installation happened. So this is the directory where entire Postgres executable files are saved. Okay, all executable files. What is the size of this folder? Anybody knows how to find the size of this folder directory from command line?
U-sh.
Yeah, du-sh. So this is the command. So you need to use, and how much it is? How much it is?
36 MB.
36 MB. You compare with Oracle database. Oracle database is about 5 GB or more. If you install it, is almost 6, 7, 8 GB, right? The installation files themselves. So on the software itself is about 4 to 5 GB, right?
Hello,
Yes.
Sami, one question here.
Yeah,
Like
go ahead.
there are like you said, like there are 4 installation files, right? One is libraries. So the first file is installing library. Second one is client, and third one is server. What exactly the last file that contrib or something is there? Like what exactly that fourth one contains?
Contributions. So some
I-
third-party developers added some extra features.
Mhm.
So the core PostgreSQL does not have those features. For example, the core PostgreSQL does not have the feature to, support certain data types, H-based data type and all. So that can be, you can have that from, the contributions. So if you install contributions, so you will get it. So other thing is, other useful thing is, so Postgres does not track per statement statistics. So per each statement you run, right, it won't track the statistics for each statement like Oracle does. Oracle database tracks the statistics for each statement, right? So Postgres does not do that. So,
Okay.
but some other developer, develop that how to, track the statistics for each statement, and they included that. So that comes, that extra features comes in contrib. Hope you got your answer.
Yeah, I got it. Thank you.
Okay. So if you don't install contrib, then also Postgres with core features runs fine. Only thing is, you don't have some extra features. That's it.
Ah.
Hi,
So
Sami.
yeah.
I have few questions. Can
Yeah,
you go
sure.
to that download that tab na where you want to download? Actually, your version is already downloaded, right? You show us na few RPM file is there. Go
Yeah,
to that in Google.
this
So
one
here,
in the
huh.
browser.
So here we have only this 4 RPM for every version like
There
that,
are so
or
many
any.
RPMs there, but among them, these 4 RPMs are also there. I will tell you from where I
Okay,
have down.
so that
So,
for only we need to
you
download.
have this PostgreSQL Lives. So 14.6. Okay, you can see this.
Huh.
So Lives 14.6, right? So,
Mhm.
you can just click on that, it will start downloading.
Okay, okay, like that, this 4 RPM we need to download. We need to find out
Yes,
from this long list.
yes. Server is there. So PostgreSQL 14 server. So 14.6. So, then, we have, okay, live server and we need, client and contrib. So because they are in alphabetical order, so you have this PostgreSQL contrib and PostgreSQL PGD, that is client. So I have downloaded from here and I have
Oh,
saved there. So I will put this link in the chat as well.
okay,
Okay,
got
I
it.
put that link in the chat. That's
Hmm.
a very good question.
And one more question.
So, okay. And if you want, a 15, right? So
Hmm.
just change here from 14 to 15.
Okay,
So you will get for 15. So you can say now all are for 15, you can see. So you want for 13, you can just change the URL, that one number you change. So, that is very funny and very easy. So you have this RPMs. Okay.
okay,
So now
okay,
go ahead and ask if you have any other
okay.
question.
Huh. So installation we need admin right? Admin
Yeah, you
authority like.
need admin right.
Okay,
Admin right.
so
Root user. Either your user should be admin user or you should have the root user's password.
okay, so from root user if we execute, in that case also we need to run like sudo, starting from sudo, or without sudo we can run.
You know the Linux, right? If you are running root, you don't need sudo.
Okay, without sudo we
So,
can run the
for
remaining.
administrator user, you need sudo, right?
Okay, and in same server if we install, okay, when we install then that Postgres user automatically create, right? And that is
Yeah, it
OS
will
user.
auto. Yeah, it is OS user. It is not
Okay.
database user.
It is OS user, and from OS user we can manage the database and we run all the commands. So
Yeah, you
if
can
we,
do like auto. So
huh,
same.
so if we install two version, for example, same server 14 and 15. So when we install 14, it will create Postgres OS user. When we install 15, then also it will use the same user or it will create different user.
It will use the same user.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
You
okay,
can
you go.
also make it use other different user also. So by default, it uses the same user. But you don't want them both to be using that user. Let's say you have created one more Postgres 2 user and you want the 15 version to use Postgres 2, that you can do it.
So for that we need to create that user before we install, or it will,
After installation also you can create. That's not a problem.
because Postgres itself will
You can
create.
create before installation or after installation. That is not a problem. But before initialization step, you need to create it. That's the requirement. Okay, you have the next step is initialization, right?
Yes.
So, so before that step, you need that user.
So can you go to Postgres user? I mean, that server, go to Postgres user, or it cluster. Okay, okay. After initialization, you can go to, because in Postgres user, if you run version, I mean, if you want to check version, So it will
Yeah,
show.
I can go right now also. I can go right now also. Sudo su Postgres, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm in there.
And if you want to check version, it will show 14, right?
It will show 14. You know, there is a directory called as 14. So if you install 15, so it will create one directory called as 15, and your 15 versions data will go there. You know, in this place. So that is where like PGSQL data and system data and user data will be here. It is like data home. Okay, it is like
Data.
data home. Okay, got it. So user
Hmm.
data and system data, all data will be there. And there is one more directory I have shown earlier, USR PGSQL 14, right? This directory in USR.
This is installation directory, right?
Installation directory, which is we generally we call it as Oracle home in Oracle, right?
Uh-huh.
So two places are there. You know, one is where live PGSQL. So this is like data home. So where all our data, including system data, will be here. And you know, this is installation. So we already seen how much installation files are 36 MB, right? So here you can see, so 36 MB. So this is going to remain this much, 36 MB only.
Okay, no, why
Okay.
I'm asking that question now? If you install 14 and 15 on same user na, after that if you run version, what version it will show, 14 or 15? If you use same user.
Okay, it depends. You know, if you are using the tools belonging to 14 version, it will show 14. If you use the tool belonging, okay, we will do that later on.
Okay.
So
Okay.
if you do that tools belonging to 15 version, it will show 15. Okay, but it
Okay.
is well sorted. As I have shown, it is well sorted. So you know the installation part went into PGSQL 14, right?
Yes.
So if you are if you install, the installation will go into. So if you have installed PG version 15 or 13, it will go into PGSQL-13 or 14, 15. Okay. So this also indicates the version of the Postgres. Got it?
Yes. Yes.
So if I go to here, so right now I have 14 only. Okay.
Hmm.
So right now I have 14 only. If I install 15, I will get one more directory here called as 15. So all the system data and the data belonging to that 15 version will go into that 15 directory. You're getting the point. It is well sorted. No clash here. Right? The directories are separate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Getting the point.
Yeah.
Sami, in case of upgrade, I'm not installing the fresh installation of 15 on 14 if we upgrade to 15. In that case?
Generally, it won't overwrite 14 over 15. It will install the separate 15. Then you need to complete the upgrade process and uninstall the 14 version.
Okay.
Got my point. So we have the upgrade lesson
Yeah.
towards the end of our course. So we will see.
Okay, fine.
Okay. So any other questions here?
Sami, how can we find this home path location?
How can we find home path location is the service user's home directory. So, you know, this is the service user, right? Postgres, the home directory of the service user. Got it?
Okay.
Okay, that is the home path. That is the data path.
But it need to show that USR PGSQL, that one it need to show, right?
You know, you have
That
to
installation path, I mean, how can we find that where exactly this installation has been taken place?
The binaries of this Postgres.
That is not showing in during that RPM installation, right?
Yeah, RPM installation does not show where it is copying the files.
So how
right?
can we know exactly where it is installation is
Okay.
taking place?
So that is, there are two things, there are from two places you can come to know. So one is, documentation. Okay, number two is, so RPM itself will tell. You probe the RPM, you know how to check the RPM, probe the RPM. Okay, exit from here. So CDV14. So we got this, right? You take the server RPM here. So RPM QA. So just a minute. I forgot that option. So I forgot that option actually. It will tell, the RPM itself will tell where.
So
it will
normally the default location is a USR
Yes.
location only.
Yes.
Okay, that is a default location.
Default location. You can also probe the RPM in case if it has changed.
Okay, got it.
So
Thank you.
RPM itself will tell where it will copy the files.
Okay.
So, description. I forgot that option actually. Otherwise, macros 5 dbr. Install and upgrade. Just give me a minute. I will find that option and I'll tell you. These options, these are very options we need. Yeah. From here you can find very options. Right. So Postgres. So you give the RPM name here. So you give the RPM name here. It will probe that RPM and it will tell you where it is, whatever it is going to do, it will tell you. So not pretty much. It didn't told me what exactly it is going to provide. And where there is an option which will tell us.
Okay, no problem.
So
normally it will store at USR location only, default.
Default, that is the location.
Okay, thank you.
So these are the requirement, dependencies. So these are the dependencies. Okay, QR. So it requires, shell. It requires group add command, user add command because it is adding the user. So, these are the libraries, other libraries it needs. So it also needs that Postgres libs, and these are the dependencies. So one more option is that in tomorrow's class, I will tell you. So let's not waste the time. So in tomorrow's class, I will let you know that option. Usually you can query the RPM. So it will tell you by default, it is USR and PGSQL, that way it goes. So our installation part is completed, and next is database cluster initialization. I need to initialize the cluster. So before I do the cluster initialization, I just want to, become Postgres user, and I want to show you something here. So you can see that, the data directory, we call it as data location, data home, or data directory generally we call it. So 14 is there. So if you go into 14, so you have two subdirectories, backup and data. So we are not going for backup, but we are going for data. Right now it is empty. So because, we didn't initialize this, not even the system data is generated. So generally system table spaces. So, by default, a user table space also it will create like Oracle database when you do the installation. So, even nothing is there right now. It is blank because we have not initialized the database. The very first thing you do after installation is initialize the database. So right now I am going to initialize the database. I'm going to say sudo. So USR, there is a script, initialization script provided. So PGSQL bin, and you have the PostgreSQL. I need. So I need DB. So this script is provided. Setup script is provided. So for initializing the database. So you do this one, and in a minute it will complete the initialization. So that is done very fast. So database initialization. The next step is so the terminology, correct terminology is you have to say database cluster initialization. Okay, that is the correct terminology. So, so our database has been, initialized. Right now, if you go into that directory, which earlier I have shown where live PGSQL 14 data. So you can see some files now. Earlier it was empty. Right? Earlier it was empty. Right now, you have some files there. These files are generated because of this initialization process. Earlier, this directory was empty, right? So our initialization is successful. So what is the next step after initialization? So initialization was successful. Start the service. So that is what, start the service. So to start the service, Postgres have two ways to start the service. One is, Postgres itself provide a service management command. So, listener CTL, like, service management command it will provide. So through that, you can manage this, you can start and stop the service. The other method is Linux also provides a command to start and stop the service. So that Linux command is systemctl. So start Postgres SQL. Okay, this is the Linux command to start the service. So if it has not reported any error messages, means the service has started without any problem. Okay, so you can also stop the service. You can check the status of the service. So, just you need to change the verb here. So status, so it is saying, active and running. So press Q to come back to the prompt. So, and you know how to stop the service? How to stop the service? So just change the verb, right? Same command, just change the verb. So what is the verb here? Instead of status, you simply say stop. So you know the service will be stopped. So you can say it is not running now. Okay, it says active, inactive, dead. So you know that is what you can stop the service. So how can I start it back? So again, very simple. So same command, right? So it started, again it started. So likewise, you can start and stop the service. Any questions here? Okay, so after installing, there are some post-installation tasks we need to do. So post-installation task. So what are those post-installation tasks? Task is post-installation tasks are set password to OS user Postgres. Okay. In OS user Postgres, set environment variables. So like path. Okay. So the path variable should be set to, so the USR PGSQL14 bin and $path, right? So you need to set the path variable to this one. So because our bin directory in USR 14 bin, so that is not path of regular path variables value. So you need to change the path variable. So others also there, but they are not that important. So path is very important. So you need to set this environment variable for our OS user Postgres. Number 3, login to Postgres and so login to Postgres. Number 4, change the super user. So DB super user. Database super user password. Change, instead of the word change, I should say set. Because change means if it already has a password, you can change it. So, but at this moment, the installation does not set any password to it. Okay. So the super user of Postgres is DB super user is also Postgres. Okay, don't get confused. You have a OS user Postgres and also you have DB user Postgres. Both of them are Postgres. Okay, so we are dealing with two users here. One is database super user and other one is OS user. Everybody clear? So we need to do these four things. We need to set the password for OS user Postgres so that we can directly log in and do the stuff. The second thing is, we need to set the environment variable for OS users profile and then log into Postgres and change the super user password. So I will do all these things and I will write the steps. Okay. So first of all, I need to set the password for Postgres user. OS user set sudo passwd Postgres. So first I need to give the admin user password because I am doing a sudo here. Now it is asking the password for Postgres user. For now, I am setting it as Postgres only. So Postgres only. Okay. So my first task is over. So what is the second task? So you switch to the Postgres user and set the environment for the Postgres user. Okay. So who am I? Yes. And also you run the ID command. It's a normal user. It is not in wheel group, right? It is not in wheel group. It is a normal user. Set path. So you know how to set the environment variables, right? Where I should set the path? Anybody can suggest me?
Bash profile.
Bash profile file. So, if I do ls, so I don't see it. If I do ls-a, I can see this bash profile file. I need to set it. So you need to open this in VI editor. All of you are familiar with VI editor? Because we'll be using a lot. If you are not familiar with VI editor, don't worry. So there is much easier editor than VI, that is Nano. So you can use either Nano or VI. So if you are good with VI, I recommend you to use VI, not Nano. But if you are not familiar with VI, don't use VI. It is a bit grumpy, cranky editor, so difficult to work with. So use Nano, it is good. Okay, it is very easy. It is like Notepad without mouse pointer. So there is no mouse pointer. You have to use arrow keys, but it is like Notepad. Okay. So that is nano.bash profile. So you need to set the path variable in bash profile. So what I am going to do is I am coming here. So I press N to come to the end of the line. So I will set the path variable in one line. So you can set it in two lines also. USR PGSQL 14 bin $, path, because we want the existing path also. So it works, right? Direct export, and here, it already set the PG data. So where live PGSQL, data directory it has set, and also it has exported this variable. What I'm doing is I can also do in two steps. One is to first set and then export. Or I can simply say export and set at one go. So it is a easier method. So I have used this. So, and how to save it. So you have this write out. So they don't say save, they say write out. So I don't know why they don't say save. So the open source guys are a bit different, you have to deal with them. So they don't use the so normal people's terminologies. They tend to use different terminologies. You have to put up with that. And now, right now, what is that is write out. Write out is nothing but save. So how to save? That is, control O. So control and O, so that is save. So write to file. So that is I wrote to the file, and exit is control X. So this is what you need to do. Okay. With nano editor. So it is very good, but except instead of save, it says write out. So I have just added one line. So I am putting that. Okay. So after that, after using that, I need to source it. Source dot bash file. So most of the Oracle guys knows this drill because in Oracle also we set lot of environment variables if it happens to be on Linux operating system or Unix operating system, right? So if you are not familiar, this is how you should do. Okay. So the last one in the post installation task is set the database, log into Postgres and set the database password. So now first time I am logging in after installation. This is the first time I am logging in. So I am saying the client is PSQL. Like Oracle has the SQL plus, right? So here it is PSQL. So it is equivalent to SQL plus of Oracle. I am not sure on DB2 what it is called as. So, but there will be, every database will have a default client. Like SQL Server, they have the GUI client. Management Studio, SQL Server Management Studio. For Oracle, it is SQL Plus by default it comes. And for Postgres, it is PSQL. Yes, I am logged in. The very first thing I will do what? So, there is a database user called as Postgres, and I need to set the password for that user. So right now you can say \du, that is to list the users. So, it has only one user right now, Postgres. It is a database user and it is a super user. And also it calls the users as roles. So, that also note. So it does not call user as users, but it says, Postgres says, so it calls the users as roles. Okay. So that is the thing you have to keep in mind. So, alter user or alter role, I can use this. This terminology can be used interchangeably, alter user, alter role. So actually both the commands are synonyms to each other. So, alter user, Postgres. So with password, in Oracle, we say identified by, right? So here, identified by. So alter user username with password. So I am giving a password. So I'm giving a password as, you can give any password you like. I will give secret. Okay. So that's all. My installation is over. I have set the password also. Any questions here? Okay. So post installation also completed. So I request all of you to complete the installation. We have another 12 minutes. So because you are doing so, you should be able to complete in 12 minutes. Otherwise, I will give more time tomorrow also. That's not a problem. Okay. So that is the lab time. So our today's class is over. So rest of the time, so till 6 p.m. So we will complete the installation. So if you are not able to complete today, so I will give more time tomorrow. So no issues. So any questions you can ask right now.
Any port we need to enable?
You're saying something?
Yeah, any port.
Yeah, so that is right. So we'll discuss about the ports and other things tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay, so 5432 is the default port, TCP only. So Postgres uses only one port. Okay, it does not uses more than one port. And that TCP port is 5432. It does not use any other UDP ports. Only TCP, only one port, 5432. You can change that. So that's not a problem. You can change it to other, but only one port still. So tomorrow we will see about ports and other things. So today we will finish till installation part. Tomorrow we will see so the client part, and also we will see so architecture part. That is the agenda for tomorrow.
Sabi, sure. Sabi, like one. Hello.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm listening.
Yeah. So after this session, you share this recordings link or download and send it to us.
That we will take care of. Don't worry. It is getting
Yeah,
recorded, right? So it won't go anywhere. So so we
Yeah.
will figure out how you can get it. So but you will get it.
Okay. Thank you.
So while you are doing the lab, any comments on whether the speed of delivery, training delivery, it is okay with you guys? So I'm going too fast or too slow. So so the speed is okay. So you just give some comments, feedback on that, so that I can set the tone properly.
Sure, we will do that. For me, it felt like okay, the speed is fine, but I'll take the team's feedback and I'll provide you the complete.
Sure, definitely. So if you want me to go fast, if you want me to go slow, so I maintain the same speed. So I can do that. Generally, this is how I naturally deliver. This is the speed I naturally deliver.
Yeah, I felt it's okay. That's fine.
That's great.
Anyone, any questions, any doubts, you can ask.
Yeah, I am here. So you can ask any questions and try to install. And if you get any issues and all, I'm here to. So maybe many of you are not able to install complete installation today. So tomorrow we will reassess, and tomorrow we will see. So I will give some time to complete the installation. So if we are not able to do today. So one more thing is, the notepad, right? So that notepad is writable to everyone. Don't write it, anything in that notepad. So I will only write in that notepad. So you guys can simply, so what I say is use it or read it. But it is writable for everyone. And so after completion of today's session, so what you do is you copy that, Control C, and you save it locally, but don't do Control X or cut. Don't do the cut, only copy it. Okay.
Sami, do we require to stop the services if we don't use it?
Means, you can, it is, you need to see how you can start and stop. But there is no need to stop any service. You can leave that lab like that.
Okay.